What is good, YouTube? It is your boy, Vic Damone, aka Timeless Vic. Woo! It feels good to be back. The haircut that we're doing today is an all even cut with a 3 3/4 detachable and a skin taper. We're going to be using the detachables throughout the whole entire haircut. The clipper that I'm using is the Oster Model 10. You can use any detachable rotary clipper that you want to use during this haircut. It really doesn't matter. As long as you have the same exact blades that I'm using, you'll be good to go. So first I'm going to start off by taking the hair down, going against the grain in all different directions, making sure that I get that exact even cut. Make sure you take your time during this process. That way you don't have to double back when you're all the way done with your haircut to get little parts that you missed. Just make sure that you cut it all down evenly from the get-go. Then it's the last thing you have to worry about when you're finishing up your haircut with the lineup or your cleanup or whatever it may be. So on the neck taper, I'm starting off with a 0A going up about 1.5 inches. And the reason why I'm starting off with this blade rather than a 3/0 or a 5/0 is because as long as you don't create hard guidelines, it's going to be much easier for you to blend upwards. The next blade that I'm going to be using is a number 1 detachable going up about 1/2 inch, no more than 1 inch. Alright, so in this clip, I'm using a 1A detachable blade going up about 1/2 inch. A lot of people complain and say that detachables are too hard to use, so I'm going to prove to you how easy they are to use to fade and taper in this video and other coming videos. And now in this step, we're going to be using a number 1.5 detachable blade going up roughly a little less than 1/2 inch. Now we're using a number 2 detachable blade. Again, guys, this video I'm dispelling the myth that detachables are only used to take hair down. They're also used for blending, guys. Please believe it. OG barbers have been using these clippers since the beginning, guys, so this is not nothing new. Now we're into our last step, which is a 3.5, blending into that 3/4 that we used at the very beginning to take the hair down. Now we're doing some clipper over comb action using a styling comb and a cordless Andis T outliner with a GTX blade. This is just minor cleanup real quick before I get on to the next step. Now we're going to be using a 5/0 real quick just to clean up the bottom of the neck. We're not trying to go up too high now because we don't want to create a guideline. I have my 5/0 zero gapped, so they definitely get really close to the skin, closer than they would if they weren't zero gapped. And so now I'm going to be using a 3/0 and blending out that last little bit. And I'm going to be going into the taper a little bit higher on some parts you're going to see here, using that corner technique, that classic Vic Damone corner technique. Now I'm going to be lining up the nape area. Remember not to go too far in, guys. Keep it as natural as possible. And in this clip, I'm using the Andis T outliner cordless. Be sure to pull that ear down when you're going behind that ear. You don't want to catch them. There'll be a possible lawsuit on you. Just kidding. Okay, so we're repeating the same exact thing on the other side. Just keeping that line up as natural as possible, cleaning it up. There you can get a better picture of it. Nice and close up for you. Now we're going around the top of the ear. Old school barbers would call this the white walls. And that's where the whole term where people used to come to the barbershop and say, I gotta go get my ears lowered, which, man, I gotta go get a haircut, and this is the reason, because the white walls, when you go up around the ears, and it makes it appear that you got a gap there, and so it makes it look like your ears got lowered. I guess it's not really, I really don't believe that myself, but that's the only thing that I can make of the whole saying. So now we're gonna start the taper, same thing as we did on the bag. We're starting off with a 0A detachable. Now we're lightly blending down towards the beard, just making sure that everything's blended properly. And notice I'm using the corner, probably the last two, no more than 3 teeth of the blade, you guys. And now I got a number 1.5. Now you're wondering why I jumped straight to a 1.5 instead of going up through with a 1 and then a 1A and then to the 1.5. And the reason for this would be, with my man here, his hair grows a lot lighter on the sides than it does in the back. So if I was to go up with all those blades, it would take his taper up way too high. So now we're gonna go with a 2. And then we're gonna be, after the 2, we're gonna be using the 3.5 just to lightly. But notice how I'm just using the corner. I'm not like really digging in too hard, because like I said, a lot of times the hair grows differently on the sides than in the back. With some clients with extremely thick hair, then I would do the exact same steps. But in this case, like I said, I don't want to take the taper up too high, so that's why I'm doing it like this. There's that 3.5 detachable. And you're gonna see right now, I'm gonna go back with the 1, and I'm gonna be using the corner of the blade just to knock out any dark spots that I see. There you go, right there. Mastering this corner technique is probably the most important, if not the most important, step to learning how to blend hair properly, because after you've done all your guidelines, you're gonna be stuck with little dark spots that are gonna, you know, keep your blends from looking the way they need to look. And so learning how to use this technique is definitely the most important, to me, part of doing this, because anybody can do a guideline. You can hand a little 5-year-old a clipper and they could do a guideline. But what's gonna make that blend vanish into thin air is that corner technique. Now I'm using a number 5, 0, a 5-0, whatever, either one, you can call it either one. And I'm still using the corner technique just to bald out the bottom of the taper. All right, guys, so now we're doing the taper on the left side of the head, and I'm gonna go ahead and let these beats slap. If you guys are interested in getting some dope beats for your videos, or if you're rappers or whatever, any type of production you're trying to do, YouTube, Instagram, whatever, holler at my brother. He goes by 3D Music on Instagram. I'm gonna go ahead and put his link in my description as well, so you can holler at him, whatever you need. He'll get right back to you, all right? So let's let this beat slap, and then I'll come back for the lineup portion, and then the video will be a wrap. And we're back. I'm using my Anda slim lines to touch up the back side of the beard. We're going to be touching up the rest of the facial hair as well. The mustache, the top of the beard, underneath the beard. So this is pretty much a full service haircut. Now guys, in the comment section, please let me know if you guys like these full length videos rather than cut down to 10 minutes like my old previous videos. I'm sure this is what you're looking for, but just a double check, make sure you let me know. I prefer doing them like this because it's actually easier on me as far as editing goes. I don't have to cut up so much clips. I just pretty much let it play and cut up when I'm changing steps. So now we're touching up the mustache just lightly. You don't want to go too high. And now we're touching up the forehead, doing the lineup all the way across. I always like to start my lineups in the middle and then work out to one side and then go ahead and step back, get away from that tunnel vision and make sure my hairline is going to be straight by stepping back, looking at it, turning my client around in the mirror and making sure that it's straight all the way across. Remember, you don't want to push the hairline back too far. You just give them a touch up. And now we're touching up the top of the beard. I'm not going in too far on the natural line of the beard because I know I'm going to come back with my straight razor and touch it up anyway. So it's just a light cleanup with the trimmers. Make sure that you don't go too far back on the hooks. We're going to go ahead and repeat the same thing on the left side, touching up the back side of the beard, touching up around the ear. Make sure you're holding that ear down again, guys. So my shop gets like a really good amount of natural lighting. That's why you see in some clips it gets really bright. I mean, I got great lighting in my shop as well, as far as the fluorescent bulbs that I have. But as far as like the natural lighting, sometimes you're going to see certain pictures get brighter than others because it's kind of like a cloudy day out. So when that cloud passes, you get that big burst of sunlight in the shop. And then when a cloud comes back through, then it darkens back up. I mean, all in all, the shop's lighting is really good. So if ever any of you guys ever have a chance to come by, you'll see what I'm talking about. Again, guys, make sure that you are keeping the hairline as natural as possible. In this clip, I'm still using my slim lines and just lightly touching it up and then going into the hooks, touching those up, touching up the top of the beard. And from there, we're going to go into using the razor, straight edge razor, making sure that it's nice and crispy. See that hook right there? See, I just barely touch it. Not going in at all, just barely touching it. And then using the corner of the blade, just kind of like a pencil. On the right side of the head, obviously, you would use your right corner. And on the left side, you'd be using your left corner. Now I've got a 5-0 blade on my detachable clipper again. And I'm just lightly touching up the bottom of the taper using the corner technique again. Now we're using our straight edge razor to touch up the top of the beard. Just make sure that you're stretching that skin. The particular razor that I'm using in this clip is by a company called the Irving Barber company, and they've always taken care of me as far as, you know, lacing me with all their newest products and stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave a link in the description, so if you want to pick one up, you can. This is easily the best quality razor on the market for barbers today. As you can see, I'm using the heel and the toe, mainly the toe portion of the razor, to get the really sharp defined hairline that I'm looking for. Just lightly stepping back, looking at my hairline, making sure that I'm, you know, getting it as crispy as possible without pushing it in too far. And see that? So I'm just using the corner of it. In this situation, I'm holding my razor at a 45-degree angle. Make sure that you stretch that skin when doing this. Notice this time where my fingers are placed. I have my index finger placed right on in the middle of his forehead, and I have my thumb placed near the temple region, and I'm lightly stretching the skin. So my index finger and my middle finger are pretty much going to stay in the same exact position. The only finger that's going to be changing positions would be the thumb as I go down the cheek with the razor at a 45-degree angle. Now we're touching up the bottom neckline of the beard. Make sure that you don't go up too high. You want to keep it kind of away from the jawline. And we're going to start in the middle, work to the right, and then start in the middle and work to the left. Just like you would on a hairline. Same thing on the beard. A lot of times people have problems getting that beard straight across, and that's the reason. And here's your finished product, your finished look. See that neck taper and the temple taper. That line up. Just take a look at it. Just want to thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. The link will be in the description at timelessvick. Peace.